What is up, folks? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel, and of course, it is 12 noon. It is 12 noon. It is Thursday, September 27th, and we are back. This, of course, is the Daily Vlog Live, and so we delayed our show by 1 hour today because we wanted to be able to have an opportunity to check out the John Carmack keynote and see what kind of information came out of the John Carmack keynote talk. And we got a little bit of information there, but honestly, I was watching it on the Facebook stream that they had, and that stream continued to have problems. I don't even think I seen the entire John Carmack thing. I was late to watching the whole John Carmack thing. I was about 30 minutes late on it. Had a lot of stuff that went on this morning. Basically, the best laid plans go to disaster. That's pretty much what happens. Because what I was hoping to do today, I was hoping to have a whole bunch of video clips of very specific things that I wanted to get into and talk about today. And I just didn't end up having the time. I got caught up in other stuff. It didn't happen. So that kind of sucks. But that might still come. We're going to be unpacking a lot of all this Oculus OC5 information over the next couple of days. There is just so much information. Little tidbits of information here, little tidbits of information there. And a lot of stuff is slowly but surely working its way. And so we're going to have to digest this stuff. It's going to take a little bit of time. So I still plan on doing that. I still plan on getting involved with that. But today's show is going to be a little bit more of a shit show. Now, we do still have, of course, a lot of Oculus Connect 5 stuff to get into. In fact, right here, we have a video. This is Oculus Quest Tennis. So this is what they were talking about in the keynote. One of the things that Mark Zuckerberg talked about. And yeah, hey, what's going on, everybody in chat? Nice to see you. Main Fan is here. Bullet Ape, Tezrim, Sponge 720, Fluke, Phil Yarn, T-Dub, Viponex, Logan Chevy, Haxalot. He says, I heard a rumor. Half Dome is coming in summer 2019. I seriously doubt that, but we can talk about that in a second. Hussein X, John Edwards, lots of people in chat. So yeah, this is this Oculus Quest Tennis. Let's check this video out for a second. Video quality is pretty bad. This is not like an official video, but look at, you can see this guy is basically in a full court tennis court here. And then the other guy across the way is kind of more in a living room setup. And so the idea here is that the game can basically scale to whatever kind of size you have. If you happen to live in a high school gymnasium and you want to have a full court tennis game, you can apparently do it with Oculus Quest Tennis. We don't know what the official name of this is. We've heard some talk. It's kind of like a Nintendo Wii tennis game, basically. And this is the dream. This is the dream. I've talked about this dream. In fact, on my actual show, I'm going to go ahead and turn down the sound here because we don't really have much sound going on with that. But on my actual show, did I not tell you guys on one of my episodes, didn't I say that within about 5 to 6 years, we will be able to recreate perfectly. We will be able to recreate perfectly a simulation of being at Wimbledon. And, you know, perfectly, okay, I might be going a bit overboard there. But what I'm talking about is visually, I think we're going to be able to recreate Wimbledon, all right? Because you're talking about one other tennis guy running around. You're talking about a couple of little kids running around and grabbing the balls. You're talking about the referee guy that's judging whether the balls are in and out. And you're talking about a court. You're not talking about a million polygons. So I think we're going to be able to get to damn near photorealism in tennis, and then physically being able to move around, actually running from side to side, scrambling over here, running up, running back, you know, hitting things, doing all of that. Now you're definitely going to need to have very high ceilings for something like this if you really want to do this. But I was talking about within the next 5 to 6 years, we're going to be able to simulate nearly perfectly the sport of tennis. And this is already going in that direction. Now, this isn't going to be perfect, but it's already headed in that direction. How awesome is that? And Crunchy says it is us tennis. And Main Fan is saying it's something called Tennis Scramble. So anyway, I mean, I don't really want to get too deep into this tennis thing, but I'm just saying this is a glimpse. This is what Oculus Quest can bring us. This is what standalone VR, 6 degrees of freedom on your headset, 6 degrees of freedom on both hand controllers, legit hand presence, no wires whatsoever, the ability to move around, the ability to do things. Now, you probably don't want to be wearing a long sleeve shirt like this guy and pants and buttoned up. I'm sure this guy's sweating his ass off a little bit doing this here, but this is the dream. It can happen. It is awesome. I'm very excited about this. This is super cool. Okay, now, before we get into anything else, let me go ahead. Might as well kick off our intro trailer while we're at it, so let's go ahead and do that. Yes, this, of course, is the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel. This is the Daily Vlog Live. We are now up to episode 214. It is Thursday. It is September 27th, and this is the aftermath. This is the aftermath of Oculus Connect 5, which continues to go on as we speak. A lot of things have been revealed. A lot of information is out there, and we've got a ton of stuff to get into. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But let me go ahead. I'm going to throw on a rando trailer. Okay, I'm going to throw on a rando trailer. Might as well be an Oculus-related trailer, right? Since you know, we've got a million Oculus related things. So I'll just go ahead and throw this on. I want to check out chat, see what some people are talking about in chat. Chris Cox says, I'm surprised they haven't done their version of Wii Sports with bowling, golf, etc., etc. This could be the beginning of that, because if you remember the commercial, one of the commercials that we saw for Oculus Quest, we saw bowling. We saw that lady do like a bowling motion, like she was going to be bowling. And Crunchy says, I can't wait till people are using up public tennis courts for VR tennis. That would be pretty freaking hilarious. Imagine some dystopian future where you're driving by the park, right? You're driving by a park. This would be a great Black Mirror episode. Crunchy, you've got a great idea here. This is a great Black Mirror episode. Okay, imagine this scene. You're driving by your typical park. You're looking at a tennis court that's in a park. You see people with VR headsets and tennis rackets, but there's no balls anywhere. You drive a little bit further down. You see a basketball court, and everybody is playing basketball with an imaginary basketball. They're all wearing VR headsets, and they're on a basketball court. And kids are on the little playground swinging around, and they all have VR headsets as well. Welcome to the dystopian future of 20 years from now. It is going to be bonkers. That is a Black Mirror episode that practically writes itself. So we got to see that in the future. Crunchy says, yeah, you're making real players wait. Real life players. Hey, what's the difference? Real, fake, Memorex, it doesn't really matter, right? Sin Rakai, a new guy in chat that was here yesterday. I don't know if he's a new arrival. Speaking of tennis, I hope 11 table tennis VR comes to Quest. Sure, but only if it includes this kind of mode where you can really move all over the place, right? Chevy says, I checked out the Oculus Connect 5 live stream in Go this morning. Low resolution, so I went back to flat screen. So last night I did throw on my Oculus Go, and I got into Oculus Venues or Facebook Venues or whatever it's called, and I went into the area where they had the first day, you know, the first keynote speech, right, with Zuckerberg and all of that. And so I went into Oculus. This was late last night. I went into Oculus Venues, and I'm in this auditorium, and there's all these other people that are sitting in the seats, and you see kind of like their computerized head and hands, and people are talking and chatting. And what would happen is there was a 6-minute timer that kept counting down eventually to 0. and nothing started. It just went back to the 6-minute timer, and it was over and over and over again. So I kind of tried. I wanted to see what it looked like. I'm a little bit disappointed that Oculus couldn't work it out in such a way where they just continue to repeat the same thing over and over again, you know, maybe with like a 15-minute delay in between each repeat, and just run it over and over again. I don't know why they didn't do that. That was kind of disappointing, but I tried to check it out in my Go Chevy, so I did try. Today, I did not do that. Today, lots of things going on this morning. It was a mad scramble. I missed most of John Carmack's keynote. I saw some of it, and oh my God, dude is just such a cool dude. He is such a cool dude, and he's working on his guns. Did you guys notice that? Sun's out, guns out for our boy John Carmack. He is really working on those guns. But yeah, I did not get to see his whole talk today, so that is unfortunate. I'll have to check it out a little bit later. Okay, so let's go back to chat again. Now, on the Snap 1, the strategy to prioritize Quest over Rift 2 makes a lot of sense in the context of needing to get a minimum of 10 million users on a platform to make it self-sustaining and profitable to content makers. Yeah, this is something that Zuckerberg spoke to yesterday. He said two of the biggest problems. He was talking about this 10 million number. He basically feels that when you hit that 10 million number on each individual platform, so that means you need 10 million people on PlayStation VR. You need 10 million people in HTC Vive, you know, on Steam. And I'm not talking about 10 million people on Steam in general. We got way more than that, but I'm talking about 10 million people on Steam that are regular VR players. 10 million people on the Oculus Rift that are regular VR players. He's saying you got to hit this 10 million mark, and if you hit the 10 million mark, then other little indie companies can survive. They can make it. Now, Bullet Ape says, wait a minute here. We had 10 million people on the Wii U, and that didn't help a damn thing. But remember, Wii U is a little bit of a different proposition because Wii U is a physical product that was sold in stores, and it's a little bit of a different kind of a situation there as far as Wii U. But yeah, it's an interesting comparison. And Andy Sky coming in with the bad news. I believe it was, was it Engadget or somebody has confirmed it is a Snapdragon 835. So we are not getting a Snapdragon 845. That is unfortunate. The 835 is definitely good. I don't know how they're getting the graphics to look so close. And so speaking of that Snapdragon, speaking of the Oculus Quest, and speaking of porting games over to the Oculus Quest from the Rift, let's take a look at some comparison pictures. Now, this is dead and buried. So here's some pictures. Now, it says Rift on left side, Oculus Quest on the right, 700,000 polygons going down to 75,000. Here's the comparison with not as much of a dramatic difference there. You see the gun on the Rift. You see the gun on the Quest, 5 textures, 1 textures. You look at the piano over there, 3 textures, 2,200 polygons, 1 texture, 670 polygons. You look at the bad guy there, 4 textures, 4,300 polygons. So there's a difference here, but when you look at these A-B comparisons, it's not really a major night and day difference. So I can really see people, they put on the Oculus Quest, they get into some of these experiences, and sure, if you take a minute out, if you pause, if you're looking closely at your gun, if you're looking at the table, if you're looking at the chairs, if you have time to sit there and look at that piano, you might notice that there's 2 less textures. You might notice that it has nearly 1/4 the amount of polygons, but that's if you're paused and you're taking your time and you're looking at it. If you're actually in the game and actually playing a game, and those Oculus Rift hands look better on the Quest over there than they do, and look at that green background on the Quest, that looks pretty vibrant and clean. So Dead and Buried is not suffering a tremendous amount. How are they squeezing all of that onto a Snapdragon 835? I have no freaking idea, because I expected this kind of situation with the Snapdragon 845, not the 835. But, you know, so that's kind of our comparison pictures there. Crunchy says, Carmack said the hardware is equivalent to a last generation console. Scion VR says it makes sense to make it the 835 so that the price can be mainstream adoption happens, even though it frustrates us more serious gamers. Yeah, in the long run, that is probably a better idea. I mean, they're trying to get to this 10 million mark, right? And they said that reduced textures can be made up by shaders on the Quest. And so, and then a number of people in chat are saying, wait a minute, what about the battery life? What about the battery life? As far as I know, I don't know that we've gotten any kind of a peep from anybody about the actual battery life. But you know what? I was reading one thread on Reddit where they were talking about this dead and buried experience, and they were talking about how, and I have a video. I actually have a video of that dead and buried experience. Let's throw that on real quick, because they have this arena mode that people are doing. It's this dead and buried arena scale. Okay, this is the video right here. This is one of a number of different videos that are floating out there about this. And so you can see people, they're hiding behind real physical barriers. You can see how the physical barriers are marked in a certain way so that this can kind of track everything. And then you're getting a sample. There's video right there of what's going on dead and buried. You can see the textures are a lot more simplistic than they are in the full game of Dead and Buried. And I heard some mixed impressions about this. Like, some people said it was like a total game changer. This is like incredibly next level. And then other people were like, this isn't ready for prime time. This one guy in particular was saying, although it was a cool that they could do this, that it isn't really ready for prime time, that it's not really ready to do this yet. And they had to keep charging up the headsets. We also know they've got different color Oculus Quest headsets. We see a guy over there with kind of a purplish color. I think in another video I saw a guy with an orange one. So that is Dead and Buried. So that's what's going on over here. Let's see what people are talking about in chat. John Edwards says, oh my God, devs are wasteful on PC versus console and mobile. Yes. Well, what it is, John Edwards, is when you have limitations that you're dealing with, you have to work with those limitations. You have to squeeze it in there. You have to make it happen. And when you're on a mobile processor, devs have to figure out how to squeeze it. And that is where Unity and that is where Unreal and all these other game engines really come in and really help us out from the standpoint that you can craft a game engine in Unity or in Unreal, and if you design the game engine in a particular way, it can be scaled down to run on a Snapdragon 435 without, it's not just simply export as a Snapdragon 435 version. It's not quite that simple, but a lot of the work can be done based on how you build it in the game engine, and the game engine itself automatically watering everything down to work. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, again, we're going to get more information as time goes by about how watered down the Quest experience is. You know, Robo Recall is going to be on there. Moss is going to be on there. Superhot is on there. I saw somebody's firsthand impressions of Superhot, and they said it was almost the exact same game, basically. Of course, Superhot is very minimal in its graphical splendor, so that is a possibility as well. On the Snap One says, could it have a Tegra also? I seriously doubt it. You know, they're squeezing this in for $399.99, which seems almost ridiculous that they're getting it to that price. Okay, Apache Entertainment, he was there at Oculus Connect 5, and he says that he saw them swap every 3 hours or so. If the battery really lasts 3 hours, that would be pretty freaking awesome. And one of the unfortunate things about the Quest design, and we can get into some of the downers about the Quest design, I really feel if you're going to have a standalone headset, wouldn't it be nice if somewhere on the headset there was a slot where you could pop the battery out, where the battery is like in some kind of a cartridge that could be popped out of the headset. And therefore, you could have multiple extra batteries ready to go and hot swap capability, hot swapping the batteries for another battery. Now, as far as we know, Quest is not like that. You're going to have to take this thing off. You're going to have to recharge it. Sure, you could maybe run a cord to it, but good luck trying to play that tennis game running around while you're also charging up the headset at the same time. But a hot swappable battery would have been super awesome. Of course, that adds to the cost. It changes the design. It changes the ergonomical arrangement of it and all of that. So super interesting, super interesting. Lots of stuff to get into as far as that. All right. We do have a couple of minor trailers to get into as well. Oh, you know, one of the things that I didn't show yesterday, I forgot to pop this up on the screen. Let me go ahead and pop this up on the screen. So this is the Oculus family of products now. And I made a mistake, forgot to pop this up on the screen yesterday. I'm going to full screen this, talk about it for just a second. Let's take a look at their family of products. So here we have, of course, Gear VR, we have the Go, we have the Quest, and we have Rift and Touch. We have the different prices here. Go at $199, Quest $399, Rift and Touch $399. And then we have positional tracking, controllers, graphic realism, and here's graphics realism, low, low, low. And then you go high when you go to PC, and wireless. Now, here's the exact opposite. You know, you see the wireless, 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 low, low, low. You switch over to high, and now there goes wireless. That's what it's all about. It's about getting that wireless in there. Wireless is mission critical, in my opinion. One of the things I said yesterday in response to somebody left a comment on the YouTube video, it might have been like VR Spry Guy or somebody left a comment, and one of the things I said is I honestly believe, I do believe that the Oculus Quest is kind of like the first VR headset that we have right now. This is the first VR headset, in my opinion. And yeah, look, I know we have VR headsets. We've already had plenty of VR headsets, but this is like the real beginning of modern day VR, in my opinion, because the cords have got to go. The cords have got to just get the hell out of Dodge. I don't believe that VR is ever going mainstream with a goddamn cord. And I know all of you out there, you're high-end gamers, like MameFan. MameFan is a high-end gamer. He doesn't give a damn about wireless. He wants that super high-end experience. He wants photorealism. And I know a lot of you guys are like that. I'm like that too. I want that photorealism. I want to get lost in a world. But you're lost in a world for a couple of minutes, and then the freaking cord yanks on your ass, and now you're not lost in the world anymore. We got to cut the goddamn cord. Now, one of the other things I'll say, though, in regards to this headset, I think there are some mistakes that, well, I don't know if it's a mistake. It might be a pricing situation, but I think there's a couple of minor mistakes that are going on here. Here's one of the mistakes I think we have. No hand tracking that I know of. There is no built-in leap motion style hand tracking, which I think is a major freaking mistake by Oculus. And here's why I'm going to tell you that it's a mistake. Now, I will caveat this. Here's a caveat. Who knows if it could go into a hand tracking mode with those 4 cameras that are there. That it has the 4 sensors. Maybe it could go into a hand tracking mode. But I really think there should be hand tracking. Now, why do I give a damn about hand tracking? I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because the biggest impediment to widespread mass adoption of VR, in my opinion, is friction. It is all about the F word, friction. And so if you have an Oculus Quest headset, you can just grab that thing on, and if it had hand tracking, if it could sense your hands and do hand tracking, you could grab that Quest headset, put it on, and you could immediately start selecting things in menus, watching videos, doing simple interactions, basically everything that you could possibly do outside of playing an intense VR game. You could actually be playing less intense VR games if you have this hand tracking. So I really think hand tracking is it's a friction thing, and the controllers are great. Now, in chat, Cyan VR says, wait a minute, I thought they hinted at hand tracking in the presentation yesterday. No? Well, they did have that thing with the keyboard and the AHA video, and so, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of confused how all of this is going to work, but what I'm talking about from a hand tracking standpoint, my other point is this. Okay, so the VR arcade scenario, right? This would be huge in VR arcades. The whole Dead and Buried, the arena scale. This is breakthrough, right? Multiple people in the same event doing all kinds of stuff. But what I imagine in an awesome next level VR arcade experience is you have the headset on, it's tracking your hands, you don't have a controller. And the reason you don't have a controller is because in the VR arcade experience, they're going to have a physical gun made out of plastic or whatever that's going to be tracked. You pick up the gun, you grab a lever, you push a button, you turn a dial, you pull down a lever, you move switches around, you grab this thing and you stack it on here. Physical things that you're interacting with to buy you into that experience so much more. You're using your real freaking hands. You see your real freaking hands. They're tracked. You're doing it. Now, I'm not saying that Oculus Quest absolutely doesn't have this, but I don't know that it does. I don't know that there's hand tracking there. And the point I'm making here is the second that the Oculus Quest is released, it is locked the fuck in. It is done. The second they start manufacturing 10,000 of these things a month on their assembly lines, that's it. It is what it is. Somebody in chat yesterday was saying, hey, you could put a hand tracking thing on the go and you could add another controller, or you could add some little add-ons. Don't work. Add-ons don't work. We know that they don't work. Knuckles. No, but add-ons don't work, right? And so if it's not built in from the beginning, then it's a lost opportunity. Okay, so the other thing I was going to talk about is no pass-through video. But there does appear, I was going to say no pass-through video, no AR, big lost opportunity here. But actually I'm wrong on this, because somebody was talking about Dead and Buried, and it does use a little bit of pass-through video apparently to kind of see where your sofas are, and like it'll give you like a cartoon kind of a view of your real environment that will blend in with your VR environment. So it has these 4 cameras, right, that are doing all the tracking, but it's possible it might be able to access some of that video that's coming in, might be able to use towards VR. So that is a bonus. 32X worked, main fan. No, dude, add-ons do not work. I don't know that I've ever seen an add-on ever that has ever worked. Remember when Nintendo had that little red cartridge that you put in the Nintendo 64 to get like better textures and Turok 3 or whatever it was? Add-ons just don't work. But yeah, hopefully there is some kind of pass-through there. There's no eye tracking. There's no eye tracking, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't I say if you're going to release a VR headset in the year of our Lord, 2019, and if you're going to be above $299, you got to have eye tracking. That's a standard, right? Eye tracking should be a standard. As far as I know, no eye tracking. No eye tracking, of course, means no legitimate foveated rendering. Now, we know it's going to have some of its tricky little foveated rendering like the Go is already doing now, the chromatic aberration and the little tricks that it's doing right now. It's going to have that. That is cool, but no legit eye tracking, so no legit foveated rendering. So there are a little bit of Debbie Downers here. Chris Cox says, look, they need to keep the cost down. Sacrifices must be made. What hill are you going to stand on and say, okay, am I going to plant my flag on this hill? You got to make sacrifices. They did get the price down to $399.99. That was freaking beautiful. I mean, the price is way better than I could have ever imagined. So the price is a beautiful thing. I love that. Okay, so anyway, off of my high horse here, and let's see, what else did we have to, well, actually, hold on a second. I probably should see what people are talking about in chat real quick after I went on that rant. Okay, Bullet Ape says Carmack said he fought for the cams to be angled in such a way that it can be used for pass-through. Carmack talked about the bottom two cameras having stereo pass-through. Okay, see, I missed a lot of the Carmack talk. John Edwards says pass-through video? It has some ability for pass-through video. I've used it. It might be limited, though. Oh, John, you're actually at OC5, or you've used the Santa Cruz, prototype. So that's cool. So if it does have some basic pass-through video, that's awesome. Force feedback steering wheel add-ons work. They work for a very, very niche, tiny little niche segment of the population. Yeah, there are these niches. You know, speaking of force feedback, I feel like the Oculus Go controller, if it has rumble, it doesn't have enough. So I'm really, really, really hoping that Oculus Quest, these touch-like controllers, have legit rumble. Now, I know that's going to mean they're going to have to be charged up more. They're going to have more batteries put in them. But we need some legit rumble because Oculus Go does not have legit rumble. That is a disappointment. All right, let's see here. So what did I want to do? Well, you know what? Why don't we watch a quick little video? This is about the mixed reality. This is Bosworth. This was that first day. Let's watch this for a second because he talks a little bit about this mixed reality stuff. So let's see this for a second.
And integrate them into virtual reality so that everything can interact. This is super important for unlocking future use cases like reimagining how we collaborate at work. What you're about to see is actual footage from a prototype of mixed reality shot with the Oculus Quest. So as I put my headset on, we can see the virtual world overlaid on a very, very crude reconstruction of the real world behind it. And here I'm watching a video of my son and I playing with iron powder and a birthday candle for Science Saturday, when I get a notification that my wife sent me some photos on Messenger. And I can go in and browse and pick out a few favorites before it's time to get back to work. The top of my to-do list is to work on my OC5 script, so I better get to it. You can see that I'm able to access my real-life keyboard and desk in front of me while enjoying the boundless space that virtual reality affords me. And then I get a notification that tells me I've got a meeting. My speech will have to wait. I make my way into a virtual room.
Okay, so yeah, that is the video. That is the AHA Take On Me video mode that it does have. It's kind of like the Tron view that the original HTC Vive has. So it does have some pass-through, some limited pass-through capabilities, because we did hear about a guy, he played Dead and Buried, the arena scale version of Dead and Buried, and he was saying that it was kind of mixing in a little bit of the real world at the same time to kind of give you your boundaries a little bit, but it was kind of cartoony-ish. So maybe that is the AHA Take On Me mode. So it will have some kind of pass-through. So that is good. I mean, that is a good part of it there. Dead in bed, LOL, yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. I hope it can do a little bit better than this AHA Take On Me. Like, it shows the guy doing the keyboard, right? He's using his keyboard. How the hell are you going to see the keys? AHA Take On Me? It's pretty damn hard to see where the letter A, B, C, D, E, where are the letters on your keyboard? I don't know how the hell he's using his keyboard. It's coming up right here where he starts typing on his keyboard. Like, look, there's his keyboard. I guess if you just kind of get a feel where your main keys are, then you can kind of, like, if you know how to type, like, I guess all they really need is, like, you know, the J and the G, right? Or whatever, where you put your finger on the J and the F, and then once you have the J and the F, you can type everything else. I don't know. That's a possibility. So that is AHA Take On Me mode. So that is confirmed for the Oculus Quest. But I do have a few trailers to get into. We actually have a brand new trailer that has come out. I don't know if this came out yesterday, but Final Assault is a game that is coming from Phaser Lock Interactive. So let's just pause for a second on the whole Oculus Connect 5 thing, and let's check out a brand new trailer for Final Assault. Now, these are the guys that made Twisted Arrow. What else did they make? Final Approach. They had the game Final Approach and Twisted Arrow. This is Phaser Lock Interactive. So let's check this out. This is Final Assault. Definitely a pretty long trailer here, but it's looking pretty good. Definitely does look pretty good. This kind of looks like if you've been playing a lot of brass tactics and you're completely, you know, you've squeezed every little bit of juice out of brass tactics, this could be your next jam. This kind of looks like a real-time strategy, very much in the brass tactics kind of way. Very nice graphics, looks really cool, looks super fun. And Phaser Lock Interactive, you know, these guys have skills. We've seen it with Final Approach. We've seen it with Twisted Arrow. So these guys have some chops. Looks really good. Looks really clean. Very colorful. Very cartoonish. Looks pretty cool. So this is Final... Wait, what is it called again? Final Strike? Now I'm forgetting the name of this thing. Final Assault. Final Assault. Yeah, so this is Final Assault. And I don't believe we got any kind of a date at the end of this. So probably sometime in 2019, I'm guessing, because did they even say like 2019 or anything? I don't think there was any date at the very end of this. But that is Final Assault. So that was one of the trailers that we didn't get to check out yesterday. Yeah, so that's pretty much... Then we have one more. Might as well throw in one new trailer. This is for PlayStation VR. There is a new game called Squishies that is coming out. I believe this is coming in November. Let's take a quick look at this. This is for PSVR, a new release that we're going to be checking out pretty soon. Well, that's kind of a teaser. It didn't really show anything. I believe that is like a November. I think that's a November something release. I forget what it was, but that is Squishies, which is coming to PlayStation VR. Okay, so just wanted to get that in there. Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of Slime Rancher VR too, as well, or Slime Rancher. So I'll just go ahead and throw on a rando trailer, completely random. Like, totally random. This trailer right here is totally random. Just happens to be Space Junkies, baby. Yeah, I finally played Space Junkies a little bit last night. Barely touched it, though. I barely touched it. What happened is I had deleted Space Junkies. Somehow I downloaded it a long... Oh, the very first time I tried Space Junkies, when I first tried to play it, and it says, you need to add Uplay, and that's when I went into my whole rant, right? So I don't remember when all of that happened, but way back when that happened, I deleted Space Junkies. And then so I got a code for this closed beta that's going on right now, right? And I threw it into my Oculus and everything, and it was like, updating Space Junkies, and it kept going through this loop. Basically, to make a long story short, I needed to delete everything Space Junkies, completely re-download it, so I was having a bit of a problem there. So I got into this at the very, very, very end, like the very end of the night, and I played a bit of this, and you know what? It does feel really good. Space Junkies has a good feel. I got my ass whooped, though. I was in multiplayer with a couple of other guys, and I kept getting killed. The number one problem I was having with Space Junkies, so you get this shotgun, right? And you have to take your other hand and grab the front part of the shotgun and pump it so you can get your shotgun action on. And then, like, I think after each shot, you got to pump it. And I was having problems where the game, I don't know, maybe because of my 970 and stuff, like the game was kind of having some little hitching things, and I'd be trying to reload my shotgun, and then I end up getting killed. And I'm like, man, that's not fair. I was trying to reload my shotgun. It didn't work. You know, I didn't know what happened, so I died a hell of a lot. But I'm definitely going to play some more Space Junkies. It does feel really good. Like all of the movement options, everything you're doing in Space Junkies, it feels good. It works great. And the graphics of the different settings are really nice as well too. So I did finally tried Space Junkies. So that is for Phil Yarn and some of the others that are like, dude, Anthony, when are you going to finally try Space Junkies? I did finally try it. So that is Space Junkies. But let's see here. What can we do now? Well, we can go ahead and check out the latest news stories. So let's go ahead. I'm going to refresh Upload VR. They've got a lot of stuff going on over here. Let's go ahead and bounce over to that. Yeah, we do not have a date for Space Junkies. We did find out that November 15th is the date for Echo Combat. So we do know that about Echo Combat. So let's go ahead and check out Upload VR. What is the latest news that is going on? So Oculus Connect 5. 5 big takeaways about Oculus Go from John Carmack's keynote. So yeah, there was a lot of, his keynote was heavy on the Oculus Go. The parts that I saw were very, very heavy with the Oculus Go. And then I guess Carmack made the comment that it's going to compete with the Nintendo Switch. Good luck with that. I mean, that's ideal. That would be the ideal scenario, but good luck with that. Oculus Connect 5, Tennis Scramble Quest. Hands-on. VR gets its own Wii Sports Tennis. We did see a little bit of this in the video that I had at the very beginning. This is why I'm so excited about the Quest in general, because it will enable these kinds of experiences that I just don't think regular VR enables that right now. Even if you have a wireless adapter, you're still got to be near your PC. You still might be in like an office room or whatever room your PC is in. You know, the Quest, you can take it to any room. You don't need the PC. It's a big difference, in my opinion, from that point. Space Junkies hands-on, Unreal Tournament in 0G. Pretty much, I got to get back into it, play a lot more. They're talking about the Quest, the Oculus Quest, the Dead and Buried Arena Scale version. You can see the different colored headsets here. We got this purple one. I've also seen kind of an orangish color. Oculus Quest specs, price, release date, and everything else we know. And yeah, they did try Super Hot VR, and they said, like, this feels like the way it was always meant to be played. That is definitely high praise. Oculus on Iron Man and Marvel VR, the door is not closed. So yeah, just a lot of stuff is going on, a lot of information. I'm going to click on this one just to see if there were, I haven't even checked all of this today yet. Let's see if they do have any more specs, any more breakdowns on the specs. And they don't really have it broken down in an easy to digest format. But yeah, as far as I know, it does have that Snapdragon 835. That is a bit of a Debbie Downer. I don't know what the other deal is with some of the details for that. Okay, now I have a, this is the Oculus Rift subreddit. We can go ahead and refresh this, check out what the biggest stories are. I mean, it's pretty much an Oculus thing that is going on right now. I'm not trying to like not talk about anything HTC Vive related. I know people are still talking about the Vive wireless adapter, which is a really big deal in Vive land. But this is an Oculus, you know, this is the Oculus thing right now. So that's why we're so heavy on Oculus. But basically, let's see. So owning Rift games, they might be free on the Quest. So this is something we heard about. Nate Mitchell had a discussion, and he said that players who had purchased a Rift game might, keyword being might, be able to get the Quest port free of charge, but the decision would be up to individual developers. So we've talked about cross-buy. I still feel that there needs to be a program, like once the Quest is actually available and once we begin the Quest and the Quest era has begun, once they start selling the Quest, there really needs to be a new program for new games. I'm not talking about anything that currently exists, but new games that come to the Rift and come to the Quest and come to the Go, and There has to be some kind of cross-buy thing. Even if it's just like a 50% discount, a 30% discount, they need to figure something out so that you can buy the game kind of one time, or maybe pay a little bit extra and then you can get it on your go. You pay a little bit extra, you can have it on your Quest. You know, there needs to be something figured out here. They're talking about existing games that you already have might be free. That seems hard for me to believe, but I could see maybe a 50% discount, something like that. We talked about the Oculus Rift versus Quest graphics comparison. Honestly, I didn't think it looked too bad. I didn't think it looked too bad. When you looked at those dead and buried shots, obviously they're chopping the polygons to a very big degree. They're chopping the textures to a pretty big degree, but I don't think it was that horrible. Okay, Abrash, new Oculus Connect 5 predictions compiled and organized with some discussion. That's something I'm going to have to take a look at later. We almost need to do a special show just for that. The Oculus Quest Arena Scale multiplayer demo. Yeah. Here's, the colored headsets. Yeah, let me click on this one because this is one of the orange ones. So there's the orange. You guys like the orange? Do you like the purple? I don't know. The colors to me seem a little bit like crayons or something. I don't know that the colors are that vibrant. I like the idea that they're doing colors. I just don't know that these colors are that vibrant. And then there is a deal, an eBay deal, where you can get an Oculus Rift for $339. So there is a Rift deal that is going on. So there is that. Let's go ahead and bounce over to Road to VR real quick. Road to VR Moss is coming to the Quest at launch. And one of the things I didn't talk about yesterday, there's 50 games. The Quest is going to launch with 50 games. And we know Vader Immortal is going to be one of those 50, but Moss is also going to be one of those 50. Super Hot, most likely going to be one of those 50. Dead and Buried, probably going to be one of those 50. So we do have 50 games that are coming right at launch. We heard about Echo Combat November 15th. And now Ben Lang got his hands on the Quest, so he has some hands-on takes. I have not checked this out yet, talking about the Quest Insight tracking, how well that is working. So I need to read this whole article. I need to read a ton of stuff, actually, to be honest with you guys. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff to digest. I'm going to bounce back over to chat, and let's see what people are also talking about in chat. Crunchy says, Carmack also talked about how the Quest will still be used for media consumption more than Oculus would like it to be, more for gameplay. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like hand tracking is important, because what if you know you're not going to play a game? Why would you have to even fiddle with controllers? Like, if you know you're just going to be watching some 180 videos or something, you shouldn't have to bother with controllers. That goes back to my friction thing. Crunchy says Oculus Game Pass. We absolutely need something like that. They got to figure out some kind of plan for future games. Past ones, I understand it. Chris Gold says, one thing is for certain, Oculus threw the gauntlet down this year with Quest. And yeah, people are a little bit disappointed with CV2, the lack of CV2 information, but it's pretty obvious to me that 2019 is all about the Quest. 2019 is all about the Quest. So I think that's the reality here. I know there was a rumor. I know there is some rumor that says basically that summer 2019 for CV2. I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen, man. You got to have focus, and I think their focus has to be Quest for 2019. MG is in chat. Hey, what is up? Apache Entertainment. Now I'm back from OC5. I can try Space Junkies in my own home. Yeah, I would have liked to have gone to OC5. Those of you that were there and got hands-on time with the Quest, that must have been super awesome. I'm sure you had to wait in like crazy long lines. And Greg's VR is saying, so expect first wave PlayStation 3 games in terms of the graphical quality as opposed to end-of-life PlayStation 3 games. And that's not that bad. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's terrible when you get in there and you're playing the game and you're buying into the experience. After a couple of minutes, you kind of forget about the graphics after a while. you kind of forget about it. I'm going to mute for a second. Still muted here. Okay, so Rift 2 will be spring 2020 with a Min GPU 2070 required, and Alexander Lubinsky is saying a 2020 release. Alexander Lubinsky also is saying a CV2 announcement at Oculus Connect 6. So we're going to wait. We're going to wait for that. Yeah, I did mute myself for a second there and forgot to unmute myself. And then also, you know, going back to that story, remember the story we had yesterday? This guy, Jeremy Horowitz, the VentureBeat guy, you know, this like game-changing thing that is going to happen next week that's going to blow everybody away. Well, I haven't been following this super closely, but a lot of people have been hitting this guy up and asking him additional questions. And people are starting to think that he's talking about software and he's talking about Astrobot. And dude, if you're talking about Astrobot, like I love Astrobot like everybody else loves Astrobot. Astrobot is freaking awesome. I can't wait for next Tuesday. I can't wait to play the full version of Astrobot. And Astrobot for me is like a Super Mario 64 moment, but this isn't VR's Super Mario 64 moment. It's not, because on October 13th, 2016, dude, where were you, Jeremy? Where were you? Jeremy Horowitz, where were you? October 13th, 2016, I was playing Robots Rescue. That very day, I was playing Robots Rescue in my PlayStation VR headset, which is essentially Astrobot. I was playing like a 10-minute preview of Astrobot, and that wasn't the Super Mario 64 moment. Although we really love it, and everybody loved it, and it's awesome, it didn't change the game for PlayStation VR. I don't know people that single-handedly ran out and bought a PlayStation VR just so they can play Robots Rescue in the Playroom VR, which is basically Astrobot. So if that's what he's talking about, Jeremy Horowitz, you're going to have to like drop off Twitter for like a week, because people are going to be hella pissed if that's what you're talking about, because that is not a Super Mario 64 moment. We're hoping you're talking about Portal VR or something. We're hoping you saw something really freaking spectacular, really incredible, and something a little bit better than that. So anyway, I'm just going to start throwing on some rando trailers here in the background while we look at some other stuff. So Punk Zero says he's obviously not talking about a known quantity. If he's talking about Astrobot, string him up. Well, a lot of people believe he's talking about Astrobot. Now, I haven't followed the whole story and followed every response that he's ever made, but like some people have basically written that whole thing off, and they basically have decided, oh, he's just talking about Astrobot. This guy is high. You know, he's a little bit overhyped on Astrobot. But you know what? We've all had the same scenario in VR. It's a honeymoon experience. You put on that headset, you experience a game. How many of you have done this? Because I do this nearly every single day when I'm trying a brand new VR game. You put on your headset, you play a brand new VR game, you're in it for a couple of minutes, you're surrounded by the experience, the sound, everything is so awesome, and you take off your headset, you're like, oh my God, this was the dream, this game, everything has been changed, this is the best VR game ever, this is going to change the world. You know, it's that honeymoon, it's that afterglow. It fades away pretty quickly, but the afterglow with VR games is a lot more powerful because you really are surrounded. So I could see how this guy got himself some preview code of Astrobot, was playing it for a while, and had some really magical things happen in the game, and he was probably just tickled pink by it, and he was like, oh my God, this is Super Mario 64 all over again, man. This is going to revolutionize VR. I wish that was the case, but if that was the case, Robots Rescue would have did that on October 13th, 2 years ago. It's 2 years later now. It's 2 years later now. So I don't know that is what we're talking about here. Astrobot and weed, I think. That is Chris Gould. Yeah, especially if you combine some weed with the VR honeymoon thing, you think every game is the freaking best game of all time. The honeymoon period is real. That is Chris Cox. Yeah, it is so much more It's like the honeymoon period on steroids. If you had the honeymoon period with regular pancake gaming, you get a brand new pancake game and you're playing it, you're like, oh, this is so freaking awesome. It's like 100 times that when you get it in VR and you're surrounded by the world. You think every game is the next best game of all time. It's kind of crazy how that works. Okay, let's see what else are folks talking about. Zeke says, can you use Quest in the garden? I would love to circle an opponent in thrill of the fight. In the garden, do you mean like in your backyard and stuff like that? I don't think they're going to advise people to be using an Oculus Quest in some of these kinds of... It's going to be interesting how they're going to navigate all of that. You know, they have like the machine learning and all that stuff, so it can kind of track your floor. Oh, you know what? Check this out. You want to talk about a Debbie Downer for the Oculus Quest? Here is a Debbie Downer. Somebody got a trial of some type of Oculus Quest game. I forget what it was and I forget the situation, but the room was too dark and the tracking didn't work right. Because somebody yesterday in chat was like, but wait, is this going to work in the dark? So I don't know. I think you're going to have some level of lighting for... That's one of the Debbie Downers of inside-out tracking. It doesn't really work in darkness. You have to have some kind of light. It has to be able to determine where is your floor, where's your ceiling, where's your walls. So I did hear about that. That was a bit Debbie Downer. There are a few little Debbie Downer things that are starting to leak out. And one of the things I really need to do is whenever I find all these little things, I need to start making like a little document that breaks all of that down, and then we can kind of go through the entire list of Debbie Downers, because there are good things about the Quest. There are some bad things about the Quest. We still don't know the battery life. You got to imagine the battery life is pretty craptacular if they're not mentioning at all up to this point in time. Greg's VR says they could iterate on the lighting thing, I guess. Yeah, that's going to improve over time. And you know what? The good news here with the Oculus Quest and its inside-out tracking, Oculus Insight, or whatever they're calling the tracking, is this is just their first attempt at really good inside-out tracking for the consumer. So just imagine when they get to version number 3 of their inside-out tracking. So that's the beautiful thing. That's the thing that gives me hope, and I'm inspired for the future, because if it's already up to this level, imagine how good it's going to be in a couple of more years. It's going to be like, I mean, whatever replaces the Oculus Quest, the next one. This is going to be their deal, man. This is where Oculus is going towards. I think it's all about the Quest for them, because they want to get away from the PC. They want to get away from Windows. They want to get away from Steam. They want to get away from all of that. Okay, Paradise Decay has a scoop for me. I'm talking to Primordian developer a lot, and he's working on 2 Quest games. Oh, that is awesome. And you know the Primordian developer has major freaking skills in terms of graphical fidelity. So that will be super cool to see what Stonepunk Studios, apparently, this is breaking news from Paradise Decay with the exclusive report. Stonepunk Studios has 2 Quest games confirmed for launch. Okay, not exactly. We're kind of going overboard there. But that is nice that he is working on some Quest games. Dude's got a lot on his plate. You know, trying to finish up, trying to add some more levels to Primordian, and then also working on Quest games at the same time. That is kind of crazy. So I'm just throwing on some rando trailers here as we continue to move through the line. Okay, Zip-On says, I think CV2 is going to have both inside and outside tracking. That, I don't know. I don't know that they would combine the two. I don't think that would be, yeah, I don't know. But one of the things about CV2 being basically 1 year behind what Quest is, it could have basically a more advanced version of Quest tracking that they couldn't quite fit in for Quest number 1. So that's one of the bonuses that CV2 can possibly have going forward. And Chris Gold says, I guess I have to get a Quest now. Dude, doesn't everybody want a Quest? Who in chat has zero interest in a Quest? Because I have a hell of a lot of interest in Quest. I'm excited about the Quest. I know Main Fan, I know some of our graphics whores out there are like, man, I don't know that I can deal with these watered down graphics. I just don't know that I can deal with it. So what we can do now is we're pretty much almost done here. We've been going for about an hour. And again, my apologies straight up. I really need to take the very first, the whole entire Oculus Connect 5 keynote. I need to get some video snippets of all of that. And I will do this. I absolutely will do this at some point. I promise you. So maybe on Friday's show, we can go ahead and do that. So my apologies that this was kind of a shit show and we're kind of just randomly going everywhere. But we will definitely get into that. Okay, so we have not checked out the HTC Vive subreddit, and that is normally the first thing we check out. So let's go ahead and check it out just to see what people are talking about over here in Vive land. And they are talking about the Oculus Quest Arena co-location with Dead and Buried. They're talking about that. That is the #1 upvoted thread here. You can see Moss. Moss is in the news. Everybody's talking about it because it is going to be a launch day release for the Oculus Quest. And celebrating that, they are going to take 25% off of Moss right now. You can pick it up for $22.50. And Form, do you guys remember October 2nd, next Tuesday, Twilight Path is going to be available, and the developers of Twilight Path is Charm Games, and their first game was Form. It is 50% off. You can grab it for a mere $7.50, so that is on sale. And here's all that talk I was telling you about Jeremy Horowitz, and everybody in here, watch, look, 383 comments. So everybody, this guy, his Twitter has blown up like you wouldn't believe. He has been placed on blast. And the #1 comment is odds on nothing big happening next week, 253 points. And then a lot of people go into the Astrobot discussion. So, you know, a lot of people going down that Astrobot road. And then what about the wireless adapter? Everybody is getting their hands on the wireless adapter. And so we're getting some talk about that. They're also, of course, talking about Quest in general over there on the Vive subreddit. And let's see, just seeing if any other kind of news going on here. Virtual reality in older games, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Vox Machina, remember, Vox Machina is out. I have not played it yet. I am going to try to get my hands on some Vox Machina. Those of you that have had Vox Machina for an entire day, if you've played it multiple times, is there anybody in chat with an early review on Vox? Is it worth the 25 bones? Should we went out and should we be grabbing this right away for 25 bones? I don't know if anybody chat has that. Oh, Dirt Rally 2.0 will not have VR support. That's it. It's all over with. Let's quit VR. No Dirt Rally. Defector is 2019. Oh no, we got killed. Defector is 2019. Chris Cox, where has this been confirmed? Is this on Oculus somewhere, like Oculus blog or something? Ah, man, we lost a really big game for 2018. Defector was supposed to be the last big game of this year, of 2018, and apparently it has slipped to 2019. Oh, there's a new trailer, a brand new trailer for Defector. I saw a new trailer yesterday, but it had no date. It had no date on it. Are you positive that this is 2019? And oh, Main Fan has been hammering Codemasters on Steam. What is up? Why no VR support for Dirt Rally? And Vox, Chris Gould says Vox is great fun. Main Fan says Vox is multiplayer only. He hasn't tried it yet. Yeah, I'm not much of a I don't really like it when they have multiplayer only games, because I feel like I'm already too far behind, and now I'm going to get in there and get my ass whooped in it. I wish they had just like some kind of, is there a training mode? Some kind of training mode, or you just get thrown to the dogs right away. Hussein X says, Defector, I read it's coming in 2019 on VentureBeat. Ah, Defector 2019, we got destroyed here. Let me bounce over to VentureBeat. And And do we have news on Defector? I'm looking at VentureBeat real quick here and not seeing anything right away. But VentureBeat, sometimes you got to scroll down forever to see all the stories. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Let me just do another general search. Defector 2019. Defector VR 2019. 2019. See, I was hoping today we would find out that Defector, yeah, I'm still not getting any information on Defector being 2019. But, oh, Upload VR says it's 2019. Matthew Lake checking in. We don't often get Matthew Lake coming on. Matthew Lake's a really good guy. He helps me out every once in a while in terms of, like, what I should be doing with, like, VR Game Rankings, the website, how to improve it and stuff. Lots of great ideas. So I'm here on Upload VR. I'm looking for this Defector news. What a true tragedy. But, you know, I kind of assumed that this was the case when we got that brand new trailer for Defector and there was no date. You know, I was expecting, you know, okay, so Defector hands-on. Maybe it's in this story, which I didn't read yesterday. Maybe at the end of the story they say it's coming in 2019. Defector is slated to release exclusively for Oculus Rift in 2019. Oh, Debbie Downer. Debbie Downer. So we just lost a big one, folks. We just lost a big one. But anyway, Chris Gold says Vox environments are pretty drab. Defector VR 2019, Googled it, Upload VR has an article. Yeah, so it is at the end of this hands-on article on Upload VR. So that is unfortunate. Now, what is the biggest game of 2018 now? I guess it's Space Junkies. I guess Space Junkies is the biggest game that has not been released yet. That's kind of crazy. But anyway, guys, we've been going for a while. And so I'm going to go ahead and call this episode. And, of course, I will be back tomorrow at our normal time, 11 a.m. Pacific time, normal bat channel. So, once again, everybody, definitely check out the website if you get an opportunity. Of course, subscribe to our channel, like the videos. That helps. Tell somebody about the channel. Tell somebody about our videos. That always helps as well. And, of course, I will see everybody tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. See you guys then. Have a great Thursday. Take it easy. Later.